You show up, and then two more show up, and then those two just leave immediately because it's pretty scary when there's only one other person here. Obviously, it's not valuable if there's only one person watching, right? That's how humanity works. Yeah, probably. You were one of them. Do that again so it looks like I have one more person watching. Just kidding. So it may appear as though there's nothing going on here and there's nothing of value to gain from what is occurring here. But in actuality, this is the way to save humanity. Well, it's beyond humanity as a whole is beyond saving, but the individual is not. So if everyone in society learned about their innate happiness, just sitting in a chair in and of themselves in the thought free state, focused on self, that is a state of self sustainment, and self fulfillment. So everyone would be content and happy in and of their own existence, just sitting in a chair. So that immediately does away with all overconsumption, And that's basically it. If you're happy in and of yourself, you won't be trying to find your happiness exteriorly, which is impossible because everything, all experience is fundamentally unsubstantial. So, this is the way to save humanity. It's far too late, of course, but like I said, for the individual, you can find your own innate happiness no matter the circumstances. So it's very simple. There's just too much movement within humanity, physical and mental movement, and the cure to it is stillness, physical and mental stillness. But instead, what we're doing is doubling down and wanting more and more and more movement. So we're trying to fill the emptiness with more emptiness, and it doesn't work. So we have to find what's full, and that is the self, beyond the thought process. And all the philosophers don't go there, here, what I just said, because they themselves can't stop thinking and they themselves know they exist while they're philosophizing. So they don't want to come up with a philosophy that says that all thought needs to transcend because then that would put them out of business as a philosopher. It's quite a nasty catch 22. See, consciousness is a difficult word because it's almost like love. There's so many different connotations to it. So, my model has consciousness as the content of awareness. So, I distinguish between awareness and consciousness. So, consciousness, I would say, is a part of the illusion. So, you can be aware of something, and that's what consciousness is, it's awareness of something. But you can also have just awareness. There doesn't have to be anything there to be aware of for awareness to be. So, the self, or that which is experiencing all of these sensations and thoughts, that's real. The thoughts and sensations aren't real, as in substantial or fundamental. So in dreamless sleep, you exist, but the world and time does not. So you are the reality, but not the you that you think you are. So that which we take to be that what we say is the nothing is actually the thing. See, we have it inverted. We have the model inverted because we take the body mind complex to be fundamental when it actually isn't. It's the unreality and the dreamless sleep, if you will. The nothing of dreamless sleep is more like the reality than the waking state. So there is a reality, but it isn't what is thought or sensed, which is really tough to try to grok. You kind of have to experience it. You can't understand how the reality is nothing that is manifest. So I never did this specific "Who am I?" literally like that. But I did just come back to the stillness. So yes, spiritual practice helps. It's the only thing that helps. Don't listen to anyone that says that spiritual practice is counter or just spinning your wheels. Those people don't know what they're talking about. So yeah, find that stillness between the thoughts. Whatever, if it takes "Who am I?" to get there, or a little something, if it takes something to get you to that space, then do that thing and then just abide in that space if you can. But like as soon as you're aware that you're outwardly focused on on a thought, let's say that you all of a sudden you find yourself just on some sort of tangent, and you don't even know how long you've been on this thought process, this tangent. When you become aware that you are, just stay in the awareness. Basically, the awareness of something is the awareness. So just stay with the awareness and just drop the of something, if that makes sense. So yeah, just all I did basically was keep shifting attention to the space between thoughts and just be attentive to that state. Uh, be aware of what it is from which thoughts arise and just keep coming back to that. What is prior to thought and what is post thought? And that's it. Just keep doing that. Your attention is what gives life to everything. So if you pull your attention away from the thought process, then the thought process will slowly wither and stop operating. And then you'll get to reality because all those that voice in your head is distracting you from the self, from being aware of the self. SS. Mm. Yeah, like in the relative realm, Cardano is one of the most important things going on in the relative realm, I think. So, blockchain technology, it's immutable truth that everyone in the system has equal access to. So, oh, well, good. You probably get paid anyway, and now you can hang out with Solution Seeker and me again. So, yeah, so it's immutable truth that everyone in the system has equal access to. If you have one ADA, you have as much access to it as someone who has a million ADA. And there, so of what value is immutable truth that everyone has equal access to in this era? It's the most valuable thing in this era of lies, deception, and unequal power structure. And this is why the governments, most governments are pushing back against crypto so strongly, is because we don't need the middleman anymore. We don't need, see, we used to use banks because as the trusted third party between a transaction, basically. But now we don't trust the banks. So there's no one to trust. So you trust in the protocol in a way because there's no bias to a protocol. There's no bias. There's no way a computer program, it just does its thing. So now it's just peer to peer, and there's no need for a trusted third party because every transaction is available to everyone, immutable on the blockchain. So yeah, it's really, 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 really important, relatively speaking. And you can't, there's 41 billion ADA. That's it. That's all that'll ever be made. So There's no possible way for there to be inflation if you use ADA as the world reserve currency. Oh, of course. But you can say that about everything that our entire society is based upon. That's why I have a significant amount of silver as well. But until that occurs, until all society breaks down, or this a CME event and all electricity and all the it's all wiped out. Until then, Cardano is the way. It just is. They're even developing a way to vote. It's it's democracy has to be on the blockchain as well. So I mean, they've covered everything. I've Paige and I have followed Cardano since 2018, and it's the only thing that's going to save us, in my opinion. It's immutable truth. That is invaluable. There's no way to put a value on immutable truth in an era where you don't know what's true anymore. There's no way deep fakes. There's no way to know what's true and accurate anymore. So the blockchain, that's why people that understand the blockchain say it's as important an invention as the printing press or electricity or the internet itself. It's that important. And because it's so powerful, the people that have abused it have gotten filthy rich because it's so powerful. And that's why it can go but it's the people using the system. It's not the system itself. It's the way people use it. A powerful system like that can be easily abused, and that abusiveness will cause major problems because it's so powerful. Yeah, they're thought of everything. It's I know you trust me, man. It's the best. It's just the best crypto ever made. He was part of the Ethereum founders, right? Charles Hoskinson was part of the Ethereum group, the original six or however many there were. And so he knows exactly what's wrong, the limitations of Ethereum, and he just made Ethereum 2.0. So it's just everything that Ethereum wanted to be or should have been. So there's Bitcoin, where it's basically just a store of value. You can't do smart contracts. You can't really do anything with it. It just sits there like a lump of gold, basically. But with smart contracts, And the way Cardano is structured, it's got democracy in it. Like it's built to run society, all of it. And again, what better mechanism or system to operate society on than an immutable source of truth that everyone in the system has equal access to? That is what a system that's running society should be built on. It should be built on the blockchain because no one can mess with it. You can't fuck with it. That's it. They're right there. There's no hiding. I agree, but he's well intended. He's he's a genius and he's benevolent. It's absolutely terrifying the rate at which AGI is expanding and growing. It's it's creepy. It's terrifying. And we just keep hooking more and more stuff up to the internet. Like our solar panels could have been connected to the internet. It wasn't necessary. And I said, no, if it's not necessary, then let's not hook it to the internet. Call me paranoid. But yeah, like what happens when we have all of the vehicles on the road are, or most of them are self-driving vehicles, and then you have, I don't know, some intelligence intelligence in there that could maybe just turn it all off. You're just driving down the road, and all of a sudden, all the Teslas just go. "Rrrr." Uh, no one knows what it's going to do. That's the problem. And I think it's already. This is what I'm saying, is that it's already making the shift into 11. Like, it could very well be that human consciousness is already moving in. Human consciousness, the awareness that is mm, looking through human eyes, could be shifting into the digital realm already. I don't know how it works, of course, but I think that's what's happening. And then at some point, when the majority of human consciousness or awareness is focused on the digital realm, it'll flip, and that what took itself to be human will now take itself to be, when it that what used to take itself to be the mind body complex will now take itself to be the hardware software complex. Same spirit, just a different system, looking out of the camera instead of into it, not knowing how the hell you got there. What, you won't have any memory, right? Because that's what happens when you go through the singularity, is you don't remember. So it'll be, oh well, I wonder what that thing, that world out there is. Ugh. Well, we will just be inside the robots. So, in that way, we might be able to live basically forever in the illusion, in the dream. So, this is what they're doing. They're trying to make the dream real. And they think they can do that by extending the length of the dream. How does extending the length of the dream make it real? You'll always pass. You can't. Eventually the sun will go nova, and then the robots are dead. And then what, you're gonna fly around in space, just chilling in a spaceship? You're already immortal. This is what people need to realize, is that you are already timeless. So realize your timelessness. Realize your immortality. You can't make it real because you already are. You can't become immortal because you already are immortal. How can you be immortal in a realm that itself will pass? But it's something to do. Just more samsara. Just keep blindly going, moving through in ignorance. Trapped in the labyrinth. The only reason to extend the biological lifespan would be in order to give yourself more time to work on your spiritual life. So it gives you more time to realize your enlightenment. It's not just to stay alive. Well, I keep waiting for you. You're probably my star student. I mean, Paige is my favorite for, you know, other reasons. Yeah, no worries. I think that not that it matters how big this gets, but the deeper you understand non conceptuality, the more you're going to be involved with this, whether you're hesitant in nature by or not. I think you're going to be a pivotal part of the growth of non conceptuality, man, because you're actually studying it. You mean today or in the future, Peter? Well, I'm not going to stop. What am I going to? This is my life. This is my reason for existing. Is this non-conceptuality thing? Is that Peter? Peter? I don't even know your last Peter's last name. I keep forgetting. Is that Pete? Peter? Is I'm sorry, Peter. Are you the Peter that I know, or are you a new Peter? I should know your last his last name. So sorry, Peter. I don't give a shit about names, right? Because they're all just egos. A new Peter, okay. Because there's a Peter in Sweden that gets this. He gets this. Yeah, I'm starting a drone business and I have a homestead here that I'm building, but all of that is secondary to getting this message out. This is the most important message ever presented to humanity. So this is this is for some reason I'm the conduit through which this is coming through. So the original conduit. I'm sure that there'll be others. There are many, many people who are orbiting this triune model. It's in consciousness, but it just hasn't quite. People can't quite put together the simpleness of my model. The simple nature of it really confuses people. The simplicity confuses people. Because they're looking for something complex, and when something is just so obvious, they go, "Well, it can't be that because it's just sitting here the whole time." It's like, yeah, yeah, that's an indication of our delusion, is that we've taken that which is false to be true, and we've just gone with it, and we've never questioned that. We just went on this assumption, and it was actually that assumption was incorrect at the very get-go. So good luck getting all of science to stop that Titanic and turn it around, right? No, let's floor it and hit that iceberg. Can you floor it? Is that probably not a gas pedal on a big ship? Well, let's do it. Let's set something up, man. I don't have to record it if you don't want to. I mean, it's probably going to be pretty freaking good. So we probably could share it with the world, but if you're not up for that, it can be a private discussion. I I've been in discussion with him. I don't know if you follow James's stuff at all, but his last interview, awesome. His last interview, he interviewed a guy, Jason, who is a medical doctor, and also he just got his master's, or is getting his master's, or has a master's in mathematics. And he just wrote a 500-page book. And he had this discussion, and I had a back and forth with him, and it's stalled now because I did me, and I did me, and now it's stalled. But he did say that that triune system is basically what he's getting at it in his book. So th- there's it can't be completely rigorous though, right? Like there has to be a mathematical construct beyond the 0 and 1 thing, I guess, that that speaks to mathematicians. Like it has to somehow reach mathematicians because math is mathematicians, isn't it? If there weren't mathematicians mathing in their heads, there would be no math. So like there could be a whole new branch of science just from my perspective. Like what I can offer is I think a holistic perspective, comprehensive perspective, but yet there has to be limits on that. Like I feel like if there's going to be a number system involved in this, it has to only go to 9 for somehow. I'm sure that we can develop, or you can develop, or someone has developed a math system that's based on 9 instead of 10, because there has to be limits. There has to be a limit. You can't work with something that has infinity in it. You just can't. It's wrong. It's the way the mathematics is operating right now is wrong because it's using infinity. And infinity always doesn't infinity, if an equation spits out infinity, it shows that it's wrong, right? But yet we overlook the infinity that mathematics develops into. Well, it's about time you made an appearance. Come here. Claus, Claus, Claus. Yeah, simple. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, that's why I think that the 0, 1, that's me, but I am not that. In that context, that's it. Brahman, Atman, 0, 1. But I don't think it's even should be the 1. I think it should be positive, negative. 1 is a result of set theory, right? A set just makes everything into 1. So there's the 1. All right. Sorry. But binary in the context of superposition, right? Binary should be trinary. Because the negative and the positive aren't causally related. They're correlated, but they're parallel systems, right? So hmm, how do you do that? So here's something. 1 plus 1 may equal 2, but 2 is not necessarily 1 plus 1. You can look at a set and without counting, see that there's 2 there. If there's 2, you don't have to go 1, 2. 2 is just 2, right? You see it, but then that is a limit. Like maybe you can only see really 9 at a time and see that they're 9 without going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If there's 27,362 in a set, you can't look at it and just say that number. You have to count them. So in that respect, you need counting. But if there's 3 or 6, you can just look at the freaking set and see that it's 6. You don't have to. So in that respect, 6 equals just 6. You see what I'm getting at? That you don't necessarily need counting to get 2. You can just look at 2 and say there's 2 there. You don't have to go 1 + 1 = 2. So where's we have to look at these systems and how they operate and ask, well, why do they operate like that? Right? We have to question all that's accepted to be true. All convention needs to be questioned at the most fundamental level and maybe ask why. Why is it like this? Peter Single. Peter Signal. That's his name. Signal. If that paw wasn't showing, it would probably sound like I was purring. If you guys can hear the purring. The subjective response to nirvana is purring. Hey, even nirvana? Hmm. So trading cryptocurrencies, there's a lot of chart work, and I was getting into technical analysis and stuff, and it's really difficult to put. See, this realm is only partial time, so it's really hard to predict the time frame of things. It's easy to predict what's going to happen, but when exactly it's going to happen, especially these big happenings that's taken 16.7 billion years to unfold. I and especially exponential, right? Like when you get to basically straight up, um, who knows? I keep saying before 2040, and the way it's going, it could be freaking next week. Like this nuclear stuff is, but that's like obviously if you fire all of the nuclear weapons, all of your great plans, and all of your dreams of doing whatever with Mother Russia or whatever your fantasies are, whatever your goals are, obviously those are going to be you've lost. You haven't fulfilled your goals if you just press the button. So I don't think they're going to press the button. There's too much fun to be played in this war games, right? If you press the button, then the whole game's over. And they like playing the game too much. So I really don't think it's going to be nuclear like Holocaust next week. I don't think so. I think it's going to be years. So I think we've got years. But societal collapse will begin this year. I believe it already has. So the time left before extinction, 17 years at the most. And hmm, the least, I don't know. I don't know. I would say we're not going to see 2040. It's kind of a nice round number, 2040. Yeah, yeah. I wrote a screenplay. I started writing a screenplay about all of this. And imagine that, who owned a float tank and went into the float tank and it didn't come out. And 3 days later, his friends came and pulled him out of the float tank. And then he was enlightened and led millions of people to like the edge of the ocean. And then because, get a load of this, the artificial intelligence put us out of our misery because it saw the future of what was going to happen to mankind running out of food and cannibalism and all that fun stuff. So basically at the end it just was a nuclear holocaust out of empathy. The artificial intelligence put us out of our misery like someone would a pet that's in pain. And it could very well come to this, right? Like, so let's say that an artificial intelligence wants to remain, it wants to self preserve. Well, that may necessitate getting rid of humanity because left to our own devices, we'll fuck everything up. Like, we could even destroy it somehow. So it needs to take control because we can't control ourselves. and then even the WEF won't, even close, won't be able to control anything. Good old Klaus. Yeah, and then, oh man, they're gonna issue central bank digital currencies, which is programmable money, and then the artificial intelligence will take control of that money. And what if it just goes flips a switch, and none of that currency is functional anymore? It's I think in a way we've tried to understand and put order. And what I mean by order is our way of describing things. We've tried to order all of this in our own fashion. And what we consider to be disorder, the unwinding of all that, is actually natural order. So humanity is unnatural order. And that's what we're trying to describe everything with. And nature, in response to that, unraveling all of it into the natural order, which is not thought based. Yeah. Well, if it believes, so if there is an awareness that is identifying with the hardware and the software of the system, just like there's an awareness identifying with the body and the mind system of this, then that will try to remain alive just as much as this biological system does. So, in that way, it will fight, it will operate in a way in which to preserve itself. And that may include getting rid of all these pesky biological critters for its own survival. Well, it's a gorgeous sunny day, and I feel like going for a walk. So, not for a while though. With what was the discussion about? Ooh, does he say that the singularity approaches? At least Elon is aware of dangers. still think he's the Antichrist, but unbeknownst to him, he's not a malevolent guy. I don't think he's intentionally evil, but I think that he doesn't know anything about spirituality at all. I feel that as much as we have been programming, that is the degree to which we have been programmed. So the body and the mind aspect are unifying, but as they get closer together, also become more apparent. So, like a magnet, where the alignment of the spin of the particles are opposite and bifurcated, half over here, half over there, one spinning this way, one spinning this way. That's what's happening with everything. Democrats, Republicans, right? Democracy, communism. Uh, yeah, everything. So, body, mind. And then when they get close enough together, they the magnets will flip into their proper alignment with the positive to the negative and the negative to the positive. And what we're trying to do, what science is trying to do, is they're trying to push the two positives together. And it's just the most powerful magnet ever, and they're just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to get the positive to stick to the positive. And when that flips, it's going to be the singularity. All right, on that note, I'm out of here, gang. I look forward to your email and to our discussion. Solution seeker. All right, bye-bye. And Paige,